It could be 20 years.
You brought up the Florida retirement system, and I know they hit us hard. The state did probably Charlotte probably 3 years ago with,
Includes a little over
with the
3 years ago, we
increase in
increased the
rates.
contribution to the FRS.
But
The
then it went,
employee,
then it went back down the next three.
yeah, 35.
So they have a plan in place to slowly amortize that amount down. And
Commissioner Thursby. Commissioner Thursby, you with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Vance?
No, I was listening. It sounds like we're doing pretty good except for the money in the engineering.
Yeah.
But
He
there's,
was talking about what, a $1.7 million
but
deficit there.
but there's nothing you can do
But
for
there's nothing we
about
can do
that.
about it, correct?
Right, that's what he just said, there's nothing we can do to combat that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that sounds good.
All right.
Vance, you have anything else for
No,
us?
sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Good to see you.
All right. Bill Kennedy in? Okay. Send it, Mr. City Attorney.
Don't know anything unless y'all have questions.
Anybody got any questions? You got any questions, Commissioner?
That's, I'm fine, thank you.
All right, and, just to let everybody know, we have Commissioner Thursby on the phone here, and Commissioner Zed is out of town. That's why you only look at three of them. There's actually four here with William on the phone. All right, Jim, what do you?
Yes, sir. The first item we have is in reference to the road bond money. We had a workshop last week to try to outline some of our options. The first thing we need to do is we need to task Mr. Smallwood, the city engineer, to move forward on those plans. That way we can see exactly what we're looking at on dollar amounts and the scope of the work to be done. So staff recommendation is this term Mr. Smallwood moves forward on this. And we got a task order for your consideration.
Mr. Mayor, I think we talked that out at the workshop, and I think we all agree we have to start the process moving forward. It is a long process, so I'll make that motion.
Well, motion by Commissioner Ashbrook, do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second by Commissioner Lowry for discussion.
To be honest with you, I just, right this very second, I don't feel comfortable moving forward. I feel like there's some other monies we could go after and get. If we could show that we've got that $1,050,000 leverage, maybe another workshop. I've talked to Mr. Gator about restoring. I've had conversations with him also with getting possible DEP money and water management district money. I'd like to look a little bit further before we move forward. I know we workshopped it last week, but if y'all are willing to do that, I'd appreciate it.
And Commissioner Lowry, my intention behind that motion was just to start the process of research, which I heard, boring down and seeing what we've got. Is that correct? Is that?
This would be for engineering work.
Correct, and despite what the funding source may or may
So
not come
regardless
from,
of the
this-
funding-
This is work that still has to happen. Prior
And
to
it's-
seeking.
It's lengthy.
It is.
I mean, and that would be my motion, not to go on the paving and replacing, just start the research. We know it's gonna be done eventually.
Right.
That would be my motion.
I'm still not comfortable with that. I would like some more time to look into it. I just think we need to look, I think we just need to look at even a long range plan. If it's a sewer, and water and paving, and see what areas we can leverage that money, that $1 billion.
When does that $1 million go away?
We've got time. I don't, we've probably got roughly 2 years to, I'd say you got a year to start, and then probably 3 years to use it. And I'll give those dates for you whenever y'all are good with another workshop.
Does that sound reasonable to you, John? I mean, as far as how much time do you need to do the research? If it's,
Well, my research really isn't so much dependent upon how much time it's gonna take the engineering, between the surveys and just the overall engineering in particular, so I can't say it's small. mean, it's just, you know, so up to the board as to which way it's going.
I mean, we got $1 million sitting there, and I mean, I feel like we could use some, it could be used to leverage some hard dollars toward a long-range project.
And I'd be willing to withdraw my motion if you will,
I would draw.
give them some direction on what's the next step, where are we gonna go to look for this money? You know what I mean? We gotta have a next step.
I've asked Mr. Yeager to come in and speak at our workshop if we'll allow it, if y'all are good with it. Sure. We can do one next week.
And I'll withdraw that motion.
I would draw.
Workshop. What day next week? Jim? Can you do lunchtime? How about Wednesday? Wednesday at noon? Yeah, appreciate it, y'all.
Yes, sir.
John? Alright, we'll have a workshop Wednesday at noon next week. What day is that, Jim?
10th.
On the 10th. All right. No, he's fine, he said. All right. Hey,
The next item is a reference to the propane gas vehicles.
yes. I've spoken with the gas people, Jason, and he's supposed to be getting it set up for our next meeting. He and the guy that supplies these kits will be here and tell us more about it. I told him it would definitely be next budget cycle before we did anything anyway, but, so that's what I know as far as now, they will be at our next meeting this month.
The next item is in reference to our upcoming budget. Where we're at is we have responded back to the property appraiser's office with the DR 420. The county has established their date this past week for their first public hearing, which will be the first vote on the 6th. So we set yours the next day, the 7th at 5:01. Staff has went through and we're prepared tonight to go ahead and turn the budget over to you, to go ahead and set the dates that you want to start the process of going through it and working on the budget itself.
You got these workshops that you want to say we do.
This is, from here, Mayor, it's y'all's time. You tell us what works best for you. Do you want to meet once a week at noon? Do you want to do it all in one meeting? How many do you want to have to get comfortable with the budget?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
We can have as many as you want.
pretty worn out last year, every week, but meeting about the budget. These numbers all start to run together. I'd like to see us just meet a Friday at noon, meet until 5, to do the preliminary, go through and hear from the department heads what their suggestions are, and then we can do hourly workshops after that, you know what I mean? Just after he's had a chance to fill it out.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just know August 9th is on there and I can't make that one. So. You saying meeting at noon?
Maybe that Friday at noon, we start our first.
What date is that? You talking about next Friday?
That would be next Friday.
The 12th?
Next Friday as well.
Okay.
Did you get that, William?
Yeah, Friday at noon, but are we gonna do them all at noon? Cause I think they probably work sometime. I mean,
What
you'll
day is
have
that?
one
The
Wednesday
12th.
at noon, correct, and then one again on Friday at noon, or is that what I'm saying?
My intention on, for Commissioner Thursby was just to do this one meeting, to get a 4-hour chunk knocked out.
All right, that's fine, I'm good with that.
And you can
Need a
assess
motion
what
for
you
that,
want, right, and then you come back to us with the red marks.
Okay, we have 2 meetings set up for next week then. One for the workshop in reference to the road bond at 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 10th. Friday the 12th, we will start and give you some extra time if you want working on the budget. All right.
This one, I'm earning all that big money.
All right. Next item we have is in reference to the park improvements for the TDC funding. We've talked a few times about the $10,000 that the TDC is earmarked for the cities. We just need to keep that on the radar because my understanding is that money's got to be expended by the end of this fiscal year. I've talked to our.
Oh, I thought they would come up with more money. I thought this was in above that, man.
We haven't made a final decision on how to spend that $10,000, so we need to get a plan together to get it done.
And I had that recommendation about the lights, that I think we gotta look into that,
Walking path lights.
even just a repair job.
I have talked with the city electrician.
I think we got a lot of work to look at there.
I did say that the gym had reached out to also our, electrical guy with the city, and he's supposed to give a Jim and then look over that and give us his opinion on that too.
It happened, yeah, right?
I have talked with Bob, and he was kind of looking at some different angles. He went down and did some replacement work, basically from 8th Street back to 5th Street, 71, and they're not working again. So he's worked with it before, so he's kind of at odds as to what to do.
I agree.
So, if you got any ideas, let us know, because we need to move forward on that, because I believe that money's got to be spent by the end of September.
By the end of September for the next budget cycle.
What's it necessarily gotta be spent on?
To my understanding, the memo we got from Jennifer was that it had to be used back for park improvements.
I know I can name the water fountain down at Jetty Park,
So see,
the lights down at the, tennis courts, I'm not sure if they're working yet or not. Little things like that.
sure. Well, we got coming up in a few minutes. One of the things was about the fountains. That's going to be a $4,000 to $5,000 expenditure there. So you're exactly correct. Okay. Let's see, on the new business, we've already covered our audit report. The next item we have is in reference to the First United Methodist Church. The Methodist Church is doing improvements to their sanctuary and to the actual facility itself, and are in need of some space for their children events that take place on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. The board has already gave approval for Wednesday nights to be utilizing at $100 a month. I spoke with Crystal Terry and Julie Hodges. They are in need of the facility, the Stackhouse, for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays to have children events on there, sir. What they're proposing is if they could do it for $300 a month for those 3 nights up until they get their facility up.
Do we have any other commitments?
We do not, so I think it's a good thing.
I'll make that motion.
We do have a commitment that came up from I think the soccer league was looking to use the Stackhouse for registration on a couple of Thursday nights. Or maybe it was Friday nights, I'm not sure.
And I don't believe, Jim, they're looking to use it in the evenings, are they?
It would be in the evenings, I believe.
It is.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is my understanding. I'm gonna meet them tomorrow. We're gonna do a walkthrough to see about their setup and those kind of things on there, so.
And I think the cheerleaders may have reserved the Stackhouse too, but I can't remember those dates off the top of my head for registration.
Okay. All we can do is,
Those programs that every year they use it, whether it be Little League Soccer, the cheerleaders, team building, what have you, those guys use that every year. We need to, for the registration, we need to be able to work with them. You know, even if there might be one night where we just have to, work around it, we need to work with these people.
I agree.
Well, I'll amend the motion to say if there's any previous conflicts, previous commitments, and they're willing to work around that.
we'll try to find them a place to do it if there's conflict.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ashbrook, we have a second.
Yeah, I'll say.
A second by Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4.
The next item we have is in reference to the listing renewal for the sale of the properties at Pat Park. I think it was on the agenda at the last meeting that, we need to make a decision on there.
Did you go back to the minutes and see exactly what we said about after the 6-month period? You're talking about that, right? Pat Park?
Yes, in reference to give, right now you have, Ms. Sabrina Burke, who's your listing agent on there. The 6-month window's expired on there, so we need to make a decision.
The minutes said if property doesn't sell, then we'll go to the second person on that list.
Oh, that was voted on.
So it is.
It was, but most of the property has sold.
Right.
And so, there was,
I just think on this, Mr. Mayor, if you've got just a moment.
Sure.
It kind of gives me heartburn to think that whether it be $500 or $1,000, that difference in price only does somebody that's done a fantastic job in Virgin County Realty. And, if it was the same thing that they were charging and we were trying to get the second person a chance and it was a tie, I could understand that. But for us to, that's just saying, okay, well, we're gonna pay these people more than we would in the other two that get when they drew it up. They lowballed it to go in there to try to help the city. Now we're gonna pay somebody else more of taxpayer money. That, to me, I didn't understand how they were gonna do it, and that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I kinda agree with you there, as long as the property's selling, why would you take it away from the person that's selling it? Try somebody else and pay them more money on top of everything else, so, I'm happy with what we got right now. Somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to leave the listing contract extended 6 months, with working company.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, second from Commissioner Thurston. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
And I would like to also say this too, is that, they have done a great job on marketing that and selling that more, so I appreciate it, and I'm sorry for any, misunderstanding that may have been with this whole situation.
I think we got it all covered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. The next item is in reference to the Ward Ridge building. We have Mr. David Lane here tonight. He has actually gave a proposal to you that, talks about the building. We've talked about real estate, we've talked about trying to balance our budget on here. Here's one opportunity here for you to try to consider that, and he's here tonight to speak to you.
Come on up, sir.
Sir,
Tell me your name again.
my name is David Lane.
David Lane.
that's what it was.
Nice to meet you, David.
I've never done this before, so you all forgive me. I'm
That's
a
all
little
right.
bit nervous, but I've been speaking with the city manager about this building, knowing that it's previously been used as a funeral home. Had the desire for several years to be that first one that tried to make the funeral home. And that's what I'm approaching the board about tonight, is the idea of either a lease with intent to buy this building and make changes, bring all the necessary tools and equipment to this facility to facilitate all the families, every way of final disposition, not just burial, but cremation. To offer St. Joe, to me, what feels like, and I don't mean to put anyone down in any way, I come from a family of funeral directors, original owners of Kent Forest Lawn. We have funeral homes in Callaway and Mariana and Albertville, Alabama, and Huntsville. So I'm very well rounded in the funeral industry. Have family ties here in the Fort St. Joe area, working in the school systems and board, school board. I just feel like I'm that guy that has the want to, the desire, I believe the God-given gift of compassion to deal with families, and that's something I feel like Fort St. Joe deserves. We deal with a lot of the Fort St. Joe people in Panama City. I currently work with Wilson, and the families are having to travel all this distance on top of losing a loved one. You know, they're having to travel to make their funeral arrangements. I would like to take this building and make this building the best funeral home Fort St. Joe's ever seen. I've got people to help back me. I've got all the tools at my fingertips, and I've got the heart for it. The only thing I don't have is the building. And I understand a lot of money talk tonight. I don't have all the money. I can't say, hey, I can give you this amount of money for this building, which is why I would like to approach it as a lease with intent to purchase, not option. I wholeheartedly intend to purchase the property if it could be approved by you all, the board. That is, if you have questions, please ask, because like I said, I've never done this before. I've waited on many families in the Fort St. Joe area, and it's a wonderful community, and I'd like to be a part of it. My wife grew up here, graduated Fort St. Joe, and I just feel I'm that person that can come in that's not a complete total stranger, and show a little bit of a difference in the way funeral service can be.
I guess I don't really have a lot of questions for you, probably more directed towards our attorney on the legalities of selling this property. I don't know if the board has the power without putting it out for a bid to do that. I think we've been talking about selling this building for a while. It is a comfortable meeting place. I hate to carpet it. Other than that, it's worked out pretty well. So, do you have any input on that?
Well,
How we could work it?
you've got pretty broad power to sell real estate that you don't need, if you determine it's in the best interest of the city. Sutherland had an option to purchase this a couple of years ago. You do have a current tenant who has the right of first refusal, and I see an issue with a lease purchase kind of agreement is likely to be a problem, because she can probably easily say, yeah, I can meet that. And she might exercise her right of first refusal. As to the amount of money we're talking about, that's y'all's call, and it's certainly been worth doing a little research on what it's worth. I believe that when Sutherland was getting ready to pull the trigger, they actually had an appraisal done, didn't they?
What was the appraisal?
I don't remember.
You know, you,
I believe it was somewhere around 200, 205.
and you only offer how much?
I put in my proposal $180,000. In getting that, and it states clearly in your tax records, that is not applicable when it comes to selling the property, but as a starting point and open to any, counter offer.
Personally, myself, I don't like the lease with the intent to buy.
Sure.
For a couple of reasons. We just had that go on, it went 2 years, and the guy left, and the city could use the money.
Yes.
I mean, I think we all want to sell this building, but we could use the money now.
Yeah.
You don't have any financial backing, if you like
I-
to get the money all.
I can reach out. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it, like I've heard discussed, I can't go write you a check for that. I need to do my homework and have been for some time in getting backers and securing funds. But the building itself, and knowing that you have a piece of property, number one, I have to have on an application for a funeral establishment. And until I do have that, I can't even apply to make this a funeral establishment. So the only way I can do it is approach the board, see if you're willing to lease, if you're not, what you will take. In consideration, I'm not a wealthy man, but I do want to bring a great service to this community.
I'd say, I feel the same way about sale versus leasing. But one of the concerns in the back of my mind is having a crematory here. Was that in the plans, future plans when Sutherland was here?
That was not.
I worry about the public, and their concern about having that here, with a smokestack, and that's my concern.
I can understand that, and for people who haven't been around that, I've been in the crematory all day today and yesterday. Clean emissions, governed by the EPA, they sit, watch yearly,
They come out and they sit and they watch. People would hardly know there was a crematory on this property unless you just absolutely told them. The efficiency and just the simple fact that there's a large cremation rate in this area.
I agree.
And those families are having to travel and take revenue out of Fort St. Joe and giving it to Bay County or giving it to Calhoun County. It could be kept here. I mean, your florist, and we're talking, well, that gets outside the cremation. I've operated 4 different crematories over my 20-plus years in the funeral industry. It's not something that people take note of. I mean, if they know it's here and their curiosity brings them up to the corner of the property and they go, wow, what is that? Most likely, I would want it in an aesthetically fit building to where it's not saying, hey, I'm a crematorium.
Absolutely.
For instance, Highway 98, Business 98, and Boat Race Road in Parker.
Exactly what you're
That's
talking
my family's. I went through the whole process of that crematory being built till first operator of that crematory. People had the same issues. Finally, it took a little bit of time, but the surrounding community now embraces it. And I understand that death care in itself is one of those taboo things. People don't want to talk about death. They don't want to talk about cremation. Fact of the matter is, cremation is getting to be 60% of final disposition of human remains. I just wanted.
I guess if I'm real tail back and I'm one of the other commissioners said is, selling that particular building is not really something that I wanted to do. But right now we're in a spot where we need to sell what we can to keep going up on taxes and to help our citizens out throughout the community. So, for me, I'm gonna have to say that I'm not interested in a lease. But I'm definitely interested. I'm even interested in helping the offer that you put forward. But as far as a lease, that's not something I would be interested in at this time. I don't think. That's just where I stand with that.
I have a question regarding the business. What does it take as far as staffing to operate a facility like that? Is there going to be local people hired for these positions, or is it all family run?
No, I say I'm family. I'm my immediate family being cousins, uncles. Me, I'm on my own. I have my wife, who yes, I'd like to bring in. She knows people. Some of you may have graduated high school. Her dad's here in this town. Her sisters, her sister, her brother-in-law, aunts. You'd have to bring in staff, and I would love to bring someone in from the community. Teach somebody this trade. It's a dying profession. And some of what you see coming out of the mortuary colleges is sad. I went in 1992 and I revisited in 2009. And what I saw scares me. People are not being taught ethical, crematory, funeral ethics is what I'm trying to say.
But to circle back around, 1, 2, 3 people, local jobs possibly created?
Yes, and depending on what revenue it does bring in, even more. I mean, I don't know who you have around here to do opening and closings for cemeteries. I'd like to be able to find a crew that I could put together from the community to go out and do these opening and closings. And taking funeral from your ordinary, let's just have a funeral or cremation, but get vendors in the community that do catering. I mean, funerals have advanced to celebrations, not just a sad time for people. It's really advanced over the years to where there's a whole lot of different revenues to include the city of Fort St. Joe into the funeral industry.
I mean, guys, I've got a recommendation taken into what Commissioner Bezet had written earlier, and I think this works for all of us. What would y'all think about doing a sealed bid with a minimum bid starting at 180? You could talk to your financial institution and see what you could get up to, and at least get it out on the market that way. You may be very well the only person that bids on it, but I think that's fair to everybody. It's getting us the money this year, a little bit every here and there. That's the only fair way that I can see doing this.
You comfortable with that?
I'm very comfortable with the purchase of the building. That is my ultimate goal, is to own this property. It's got a lot of work to do. I'm willing to put forth the effort to do it.
So we'll do a sealed bid and,
For a month, call it.
yeah, come back before us to,
For the highest bidder.
or accept.
So the highest bidder will win it. I mean, this guy's brought it to the table to us. I mean, nobody else. So why wouldn't we just advertise it? It's the use of sales. Maybe I'm a little confused, but
Instead of a sealed bid process, just
yes,
be completely open with it.
yeah, just be completely open with it. Know that we got one man willing to pay 185, maybe even more.
Just have an option.
Yeah. Be giving 180, 180 now, that's it.
Councilman, what do you, can you give us your advice on,
What do you suggest?
Well, I don't ever suggest taking anybody's first offer,
Right.
but, and just from appearances, you need, while you aren't required to put it out to bid, and it's generally a good move from a public relations standpoint. Of course, we did sealed bids on hospital lots and didn't get a one. So, and the other option you've got is give it to a broker.
And this is a unique building. There's not a lot of uses for it. So you're not gonna open a retail shop here. So,
Perfect funeral.
Jim, what's your thought on us, I'm guessing we move back to City Hall?
That would be the option right now. If you were to close this down for your meetings on there, recommendation would be going back to City Hall. It's already set up. No, it's not completely ADA compliance. Would the recommendation be, okay, start off, let's have some ushers maybe down the bottom, one of us help out, make sure they're able to get up to the meetings. And then if somebody was to have an issue in a wheelchair, we would also move that to another location. But yeah, your options, I believe, is Attorney Gibson said on either turn it over to a realtor, or that's what their professional job is, or to do a sealed bid, but we didn't have a lot of interest last time we did the sealed bids. But either one of those would be good.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful.
I think the seal bid.
And you also can do what Commissioner Bezet suggested, so, 180 is not enough.
well, and that was my point behind the sealed bid, but that's, I mean, I can't say whether it's fair or not, but, someone might come in at 200.
Rob, I want those walls, really good, it's only $20,000.
Thank you.
I mean, let's get rid of the building. You may get more, you may not. This man's got a real interest in it, he really wants to come in, he wants to start business here, and they say there's not too many things you can use this for.
Let me ask this, is anybody on board ready to do something tonight on it?
I mean, I'm not in a hurry other than it's budget time and we're gonna be figuring out where to draw pennies from.
How fast can you find out about the capital? By next meeting?
Hey, people are looking at me.
Everybody want to invest?
By the next meeting, within 2 weeks?
Sure.
I mean, you wanna-
I'm approaching this with utter faith, complete and utter faith, and you pray there are God in Jesus Christ, that if this is meant to be for Fort St. Joe to have a new funeral home with a passionate, heartfelt funeral director in place, it's God's will it's going to happen, and that's where I'm at with it, 100%. I'll do everything within my power to to have you an answer maybe soon.
Do we wanna, still do a sealed bid type thing?
Pray you would.
I mean, I haven't made any motions, I was kind of just throwing it out there to discuss. It's just this building's so unique, it's highly unlikely you'll get any of the big bids out there.
I fully agree.
And at this point, I'm gonna, bring in a broker, you know, somebody sell it for us, and we can sell it ourselves.
Please.
And again, like I say, you know, 20,000 is 20,000, but you're not willing to pay more.
That
We
was,
ask you for more, you know.
that was a realistic number for me to feel like I could get out there and grasp that. I mean, I'm a funeral director and embalming. I don't make a ton of money. I'm not looking to make a ton of money. I'm looking to meet the needs of the families who have lost their loved ones. And that's where it all comes from. And if you'll take 180,000 for it, I'll get that 180,000.
God, I'm inclined to just do it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now, like you said, we're talking about, $20,000 is a lot of money. But there's no one out there ringing their bell saying they want to pay us anything.
I feel like if you can come up with 180,000 cash, they can take it. I can't always swallow it, so you ain't gonna take it. That's the way it's all right.
Commissioner.
And you put that in a form of a motion?
Mayor,
Come out. We pay all closing costs.
I'll second for discussion. Go ahead.
the other option that you have, you know, if you wanted to try to get up a little closer to what it was appraised at is, some kind of deal where we sell it to him for, you know, 100 down and then finance 100 for 3 years or 5 years.
Amen.
Did you hear that, Commissioner Thursby?
Yeah, why would we do that if we could get, if they could get the loan for 180,000, why would we only want 100,000? I didn't hear that part about it.
Get 100
Just to
cash.
be able to get another 20,000 a year later. Basically what it is, right?
200 is what you're saying?
That's reasonable.
It's reasonable.
You okay with that?
I'm okay with
Say
that.
100 down and finance 100 for 2 or 3 years or 1 year or whatever. And just keep in mind that the dance studio is gonna have right of first refusal.
Right of refusal, so whatever we come up with, we've got to take it to them to take a look at to see if they want to honor it.
Well, we're talking about the selling price being 200,000. We're gonna get 100,000 down. He's gonna have a year to pay the other 100,000. Is that what we said? 2 years? Anybody say 2? No, yeah.
Whatever number y'all want.
Yeah, but what's the rationale behind that? Trying to get another 20,000?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And maybe helping this man out,
Amen. Thank you.
maybe helping him out being able to afford it.
And also, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder saying, you guys got an appraisal right at 200,000 and you're selling it for less than it's appraised for. You know,
I handled a lot of that, don't I? I paid a lot more than mine was back in '05. God, about 100,000 more than mine.
I would ask if you would get
Okay,
once
is
we've
anybody,
done this.
Well, I'll tell you what, William, if you want to reword the way you did that, I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, what are we gonna do now? We're gonna take 100,000
we'll
and
sell
then 100,000 next year?
2 years. You'll have 2 years to pay the 100,000 off, and what kind of interest? We can talk about that.
I mean, let me do this,
I mean, we did, didn't we? Start all over.
Brett made it. Let's hear it from Lyle. What things on.
Is anyone from the public would like to weigh in on this? Anybody? Come on up.
I think it's a terrific idea. I'm
Please
Mildred-
state your name and address.
Mildred Hamilton, I live at 1302 Marvin Avenue, in Port St. Joe.
Got you, girl.
This is what we need. We need a business to move in, so our kids will have jobs. That's the way it feels. Everything he's talked about is hard. We lived in a huge town, 175,000 people in just our area. Sorry, I'm getting nervous.
I am good.
We lived community crematorium right there. I never worked in a funeral home, but delivered flowers constantly. It's wonderful for our florist shops.
Yeah.
It's wonderful for our friends, family. When I pass away, I want to be cremated. I mean, it makes sense.
Make
Why
my
are we-
children keep my ashes.
Now, I'm gonna have them bury mine.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's a wonderful idea. If he can hire 3 or 4 people, local, it would be great. It's a boon to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Well, we got one more. Come on up.
Good afternoon, evening. My name is Steve Womack, new resident. My wife and I, Heather, moved here in December. We've been attending the meetings. My only concern, not against you, totally agree, business, growth, development. I would just suggest that you wait till next week and get some expert advice from your staff. I know you have a lot of leeway in the powers of the board, but selling off essentially public property to a private individual without it being opened up across the public for notification could present itself as improper on some different levels. So if this building has been vacant for a little while, it would allow this gentleman the opportunity to go collect his business plan so that he could come back and show you, hey, this is my business model. And until I build my crematorium, I'm gonna outsource, back to Panama City, or wherever they currently have a crematorium. And this is how long it's gonna take me to develop this business. Because, we haven't publicly announced what the value of this property is. And there might be people in this room that have money to buy, a $300,000 property for 180 or 200, but now you're shorting the public who you're representing. Not just a business, not just an individual, but the people. So this is public property. So before you decide to sell everybody's property, I would ask you to think hard about it. Thank you.
Jim, how long was this place on the market? How long has it been on the market?
How long has it been on the market for? We haven't had it on the market.
How did Sutherland come about leasing it?
We were approached by a former gentleman who leased the property. That was
Tom Glenn.
Don Glenn. So Don Glenn had actually, to my understanding, I think he had approached the city about a lease agreement, and then it was assumed by Sutherland. So it was a lease. It was.
He had a lease, a purchase option too.
It was. There was a purchase option in that
But
lease
we
agreement,
never actually offered this place for sale.
just through that lease
It's still
agreement.
working out. It's been open that we want to sell it.
Correct. Yes, sir. No, it's not on the market right now.
How's that? Yes, sir. paper advertising this building for sale for the next
No.
2 weeks in over in Panama and here at the start?
I can, but normally, Mayor, when you put out for a bid process, you wanna do it for at least 15 days. If I went today, if you gave me permission today, it wouldn't hit the
I
paper
don't
till.
wanna do a bid. I just wanna see if there's anybody interested in buying this property in the next 2 weeks besides the gentleman right here. That'll give advertising to people that might be interested locally. and
We can do it.
I mean, that would be my suggestion.
I'm with you on the fact that it is listed under new business, and I know that because we don't subscribe to Robert Rules of Order, we can vote on new business if we want to, but it's not a good practice to do commonly. I'm okay with holding off 2 weeks to make a decision. I think that I'm still 100% for this, for the sale. But I agree that the public needs to be noticed about it, because there may be someone in the public who's just been itching to buy this place. Highly doubtful, but possible.
Mr. Mayor, we also need to look at the land development regulations. There are some special rules about funeral homes and maybe crematoriums. We just need to check on it.
You'll handle that
Yeah.
part between now and the next meeting, and you'll get it out. There's many places we can get it out, advertising this building for sale.
Well, and for you, sir, too, this will give you 2 weeks to try to get your finance a little more nailed down. I'm still on board with selling the property. We just need to make sure that there's no one else in the public that might be interested. That's my opinion at this point.
I agree with that,
All right, so you withdraw your motion?
I would agree with that.
I think I'm ready to have it.
All
So to
right,
make,
that's what we're gonna be for now.
to make
got
sure I
2 weeks to
understand that,
see.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
You got 2 weeks to see about your finances on the building here. We haven't decided, right now, if we're gonna take 100 down to 102 years. I don't think we've decided that yet. That's what we're looking at.
I think we decided on our intent to sell. We just gotta figure out how it's gonna work.
Exactly.
I think we want 200 for the property,
Yeah.
and I think that's basically.
That would be consistent with the last appraisal.
And the next meeting being
What date is that, Jim?
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from today.
16.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all. God bless you.
appreciate you, thank you.
Okay, the next item we have is in reference to bid award of RFP 2016-05 surplus property. This is a surplus property that we've had out of the warehouse. We had 2 pieces of equipment that we did receive a sealed bid on, and staff recommendations to award those bids to those 2 people. It's
The
under
person I
pages.
talked to you about today come by and talk to you.
He did, and basically what I told him was that after we got it tonight, I would mention it to you, to see if we could go out and rebid those items again out there. So if it's okay with the board, when we get done with this, if you decide to award these, if you want to go rebid those other ones, we'll be happy to do that.
Motion to approve the 2 bids.
Got a motion from Commissioner Hasbrook, we have a second? Second, Commissioner Third. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 4.
Okay, the rest of the stuff, what are we gonna do? Cause I think we need to have it in the Panama City paper.
Make a
We
motion.
can do that, they said.
Okay, yeah, let's do that for 2 weeks or something till next meeting. I want people, whatever y'all think.
Right.
You get some people out there that know about this because I've been involved in a lot of auctions and stuff. And I believe that some of this stuff ought to be selling.
All right.
The last item we have is in reference to the lake fountain pumps. Commissioner Thursby want to talk to you tonight about it.
You're on, William, about the Lake Fountain Park.
Okay, guys, what I had done is I spoke with, Mr. Anderson and Mr. Gatlin about, us replacing the fountain down at Fort Park and the one at Griffin Lake. As of this afternoon, I don't believe Mr. Gatlin's got any hard numbers, but what we're going to do is, I want to pay for this out of, and I'm just asking y'all's
That's correct.
We don't need a motion on that.
No, so
Did
we
we say,
can,
did we say something about TDC?
that's what I'm gonna say, Commissioner Lowry had a good idea too.
Mike could use, TDC money, that 10,000 they got.
Let's use their money before we use ours.
We use theirs before we use ours, maybe. Use the $10,000 that's coming from TDC. Yes, yes.
We haven't finalized the PS area budget either. As parks, we might have some money to at least use towards four parks that's in downtown redevelopment. Cool. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you lit up. All right. Let's see what we can do. All right. Next, Jim.
That's all I have.
Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. Just a quick update on the Phase 3 water, which is the Highway 7198 project. We crossed 98 today. So we're in Frank Bay Park. We'll be, from that point, running down the west side of 98
Tell your dog to be quiet.
to the alley of 7th and 8th, and we'll cross again and be back on the east side. So project moved along a little bit slower than we wanted, but I still fully expect we'll be completed by the end of the month.
John, was there anything in the bids with Peter Boring to have them repair the landscaping that we just did?
No, let's move on.
Any more questions for John? Anybody? All right. Larry?
Mr. Mayor, don't really have a report from tonight, unless there's questions.
Anybody have any questions for Larry?
Yes, sir.
Say yes. Let's go to wastewater.
And we've got a pump that's out, it's one of the effluent pumps. There's 3 pumps that pump the effluent out of the filters to the spray field. It takes 2 of the 3 pumps to push the water out that way, one of them is out. So I'd like to get out.
And I heard, if one of those pumps is out, it makes the other pumps work that much harder, is that correct? So you may be burning another one out if you don't put a third one.
Well, you're just wearing it a little sooner than you don't rotate that other pump in, so you're adding hours to, the other 2 pumps.
Is this something that's in the equipment budget currently? That's why you're here.
It should be these pumps should last a lot longer than they are, they're stainless steel pumps. This one now.
We currently have about $8 grand available in this repair and maintenance equipment.
How much?
About $8 grand, and about $9 grand in this materials and supplies.
So what's the cost on this?
Well, can I say a rough amount?
Estimated somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. We're hoping on a low scale, but it's not a cheap pump.
So it sounds
That's
like
why we gotta
could-
bid it
could
out.
Get the money together from the budget. I'll make the motion, go ahead and get it done, do up your bid.
Motion, Commissioner Ashbrook, have a second?
Yeah, so.
Second, Commissioner Lowry. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes for it. All right, anything else, Kevin?
We're still spraying, we had the trial. We're not seeing a whole lot right now. We're getting a little bit of stuff that's floating up, so it's chewing on the bottom a little bit. But that's a normal piece of what we're doing, so.
When's the next seminar happen to see the levels?
We were trying to give it a little over a month before we gave it the sonar, so probably next week, weather, we try to run back through.
You gotta turn the phone down, the dog's about to bust my ears. All right. Alright. Alright. Bye.
Wow. Volunteering at the shelter.
All right, that was it, Kevin?
That's all I got, unless you got
I
one.
don't have anything. Anything?
What?
Yeah, no, you don't have anything on Kevin.
Oh, no.
I ain't got anything in the mail.
No, so I emailed, DOT today, and they're supposed to let me know, so I hope that answer is legal, exactly where it is, the time and all that. They are, gonna get back with me. I think you have your packet, pages 10 and 11, breakdown, of public works on, what it would cost to do some water line replacement. You got the cost and the map, shows what roads and streets, their water management district is receiving applications for some grant money. The 8th, coming up soon next week, is the deadline to apply for that, so, that's kind of a breakdown on, what you could apply for, that, I think, entirety, they have about $1 million, so, you kind of want to, what we talked about with staff is, you got a $300,000 need, why don't we apply for it as a phased project with them? Just try to see where that sweet spot is in the fund, it's asking for 100,000, but show them we need 300, or something along those lines, instead of giving them a one-shot $300,000 project, and we got to do it to fund everybody and get shot down, so, that's something to talk about tonight, we got to need to correct another night, what you want to do, how you want to do it, so we get that application.
And I don't know if we can until we hear back from the letter that we sent, is that correct?
No, sir, I would go ahead and apply for this. This deadline is the 8th, so staff recommendation, go ahead and apply for this money on here. We still have not heard anything back from DEO on this, but this is a second option for funding on there. And if we find out that other funding comes through, we can call those folks and let them know and see if we can change the scope of work. But right now, I would apply for some of this money, do it as a phased approach. Go ahead and apply for 300,000 and show it as phase 1, 2, and 3 maybe. And that way we've got another option in there for some funding.
I have no problem with that.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, sir. Yes, we
I'll
need to apply for that.
move to apply for the grant.
Motion by Commissioner Ashbrook, have a second? Second by Commissioner Lowry. Any more discussion?
One thing, Jim, what was the status on possibly using some of the depreciation funds on these projects?
We did speak with the auditor this afternoon on there, and he felt that was a good option to use on there because that depreciation is in reference to your utilities and the depreciation of those items that are in the ground. So he thought that was a good idea.
We have a plan A, B, and C now.
Yes, sir.
All right, next, sorry, Harrison Avenue pavement, we sent those plans to DOT. Send those plans to DOT, for their review. I think they're supposed to finish their review by the 15th of this month. We'll have their comments back. If there's anything we need to address, we'll address it. But sometime later this month, or beginning of September, we'll probably advertise that for construction. 6th and 7th Street drainage, we'll finish that up in the coming weeks. Frank Bay Park, no real updates. We'll probably send in a permit application for that project. And then both UT and Army will probably send it this week, get that process started with them. But everything's still going along with that. And then the keeper quarters, they should finish everything they need to do tomorrow. And then we'll have a building official come in and look at it, make sure he's happy with it. So I'd say middle of next week, we're done with that. That should be closed as well. And that's all I have.
Those just keep his quarters.
Yes, sir. Should be about the middle of next week, but
Anybody have any questions for Clay? Thanks, Clay. Appreciate it. You got your code enforcement on page 12. I'm saying I see the, takes a little bit to get it done sometimes.
First two hearings.
Well, actually, it's 3, you missed one. Chief, you ready?
I'm ready. Just trying to speed things along. I don't have anything on the agenda. I do have a couple of comments. Monday, we had a brand new officer start yesterday morning. He was a young fella, 22 years old, so after the day, 2 days into his law enforcement career, we'll on.
I need to do on the directing traffic. Pass that
He
ten.
must have passed, no Rick,
No Rick.
Rick's still alive, so. He went this afternoon and after that, and did 4 hours of firearms training, so.
Okay.
Did well there too, so. The only other thing I got is over the last couple of meetings, I've made comments about all the stuff that's going on in our country and some of the negative media attention surrounding police officers. And Wes hadn't been here, but I have thanked him, I think twice, for all the positive articles in our newspaper, and I want to personally thank Wes. I know he's authored most of those articles, and I think there's another one in this week's paper, but just wanted to thank him and the Star. We've been shown a tremendous amount of support by Fort St. Joe. That's all I have.
Question for the chief?
Thank you.
Good job, chief. You have a short 100 club meeting at the chief, Friday at 10 o'clock at the football field.
Yes, sir.
Short 100 people, come on down, bring your check with you.
Mr. Mayor, we had one other thing meant to talk about, around the Ward Ridge building. We've gotten an offer today on the piece of property that we own on Water Plant Road, across the street from the water plant. It's $40,000 cash, close in, I think, a couple of weeks. We've done a little research on what the lots in the Commerce Park like that one is, valued at. The broker's estimate that we've got is 45 to 50,000. But as long as y'all are giving us guidance on the real estate we own, that's another one that we need to talk about at some point.
So we need to do it right now, then again, is this gonna be one that we're gonna need to advertise?
Well, it had never been advertised, as far as I know.
It's been available on the EEC website, I think is all.
Yeah, but that's only very recent.
Right.
So we do like we do on this building, advertise it and see. I'm asking.
Or would we see what we'd be willing to pay? Or do we go the same route?
I mean, it's not on the agenda now, but from what I read, the offer was $40,000. And I actually was shocked, and I didn't know that was a fair amount. I was almost offended by it after knowing what we paid for it. But it turns out that's pretty reasonable. It's this lot here that we talked about a couple of meetings ago, 3.5 acres, I believe, 3.65 acres, but it's an odd shape.
I remember last time, I think Mr. Anderson said we're paying fees on that.
We are homeowners.
Yeah.
I think what I'm saying on is just, how do we go about it? What is the procedure here? We need to advertise it so the public have a chance to buy it like the other?
That's a call that y'all have to make. I mean, certainly that's gonna be, a little more transparent if we put in the same ad that we're gonna put this building in, say that piece of property and this one are for sale. Anybody that's interested, send us an offer.
Make a decision about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be sealed bid or anything like that.
All right, do we need a motion on that? Something on that?
I just think
We can just add it to the
add it to the
ad.
agenda.
Just add it to the ad.
Okay, that's all? All right, Ms. Charlotte?
I don't have anything, sir.
Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak tonight on anything? We have here, come on up, we'll go to the first row, you Ms. Pat.
Good afternoon, Pat Hardman, 123 Maryland Lane, Fort St. Joe. I just want to bring some information forward. I know Brett has talked about this, but I've got some major concerns about the impact on, particularly our moderate and low-income people on the FEMA map changes. I'm not sure that people really understand that, but if you happen to have a mortgage and you were in an X zone, X is the best zone, it is a flood zone, it's X zone. If you're 1 foot above that flood zone, you don't have to have flood insurance. You're exempted from it, so to speak. If the map changes and moves you from an X to an AE or a BE, you're going to be required to have flood insurance if you have a mortgage. You can roll the dice if you don't have a mortgage. Now, my concern is a lot of areas in town, this isn't gonna affect Cape at all, we're under Kroger, we're messed up no matter what we did right there. But it will affect the town area pretty heavily, and Brett, you can probably help me in this some ways. My concern is that I don't want our residents to end up with, here they've got a mortgage that they're strapped to get to, and the taxes on top of that. They hadn't been paying insurance, but the mortgage company's gonna come and say, now you've got $200 to $300 in what insurance you're gonna have to add to it. That will be, if you have a mortgage, that will be in your mortgage if they can do that. And bring that type of impact to someone may very well take them out of being able to stay in their home. It's very technical, there's things that you can do if you're into X now, and you think that the map is wrong, and you prove that you are now 1 foot above the new flood zone, and they moved it from 11 feet, 13 to 16 feet. It really hits badly without a whole lot of science to do it with. If we have to do that, then those people are gonna have to go out and get a elevation certificate to prove it, meaning they don't have costs. But they might be able to mitigate some of the insurance costs later. So my problem is those same folks are not gonna have the funds to be able to do it. And my request is not to do something tonight, but I'm going to go to the county commissioners as well. But to look into the possibility, we'll have a workshop on the 8th,
The
9th, on the 9th, 4 to 7. It's one that we all need to get information on. We've had insurance people and bankers come talk at Coastal Community Association meeting and explain options. But I don't know that our lower and middle income people are gonna know that there are options out there that they might be able to exercise ahead of time. And then I also want to try to see if there's any funding out there from any source that we can find as city government and county government, to possibly mitigate the cost that the folks who are in that zone might have if they're in the lower moderate income, to be able to prove they're still in the X zone. I mean, I know it's ridiculous to have to prove, but that's the way the government works. But I'm just bringing it to your attention. I'm concerned about the folks, and I don't think many people, Brett, you've done an excellent job of trying to get the information out. I'm not saying that, but I don't know how many people read those public notices in the Star, quite frankly, and understand what we were really talking about. But it could make a big financial difference. Just asking you to put it on your radar. Let's start looking and seeing if there's something that we can do, maybe even to fight a Palm Beach County fault and one. And so there's some things out there that we might be able to do. We'll have more information on the 9th, but I wanted to get it on your radar. We're going to try to get the information out to folks to maybe start looking at. Because they can go on the website, find out what it is now, find out what it's going to be, and get a heads up on it.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna bring that up, I'll talk about it a little bit now, but it's gonna be a huge impact, for the city of Fort St. Joe. I've looked at all of the city, and there are a lot of people here that have mortgages. They're gonna be required to buy that flood insurance. I just put it out on the, public information channel, should have gone out today, so I'm trying to get as many people there at that August 9th, meeting at 4 o'clock, so they can get information on what they need to do. From what I understand, they need to start working on purchasing a policy. But FEMA reps need to provide that information to them. Again, if anybody's got any questions, public, I know you're seeing this on TV, feel free to call my office, at Gulf County Planning Department.
Commissioner, you also have these maps posted online as well. Can you tell them how to get to all that stuff so they can look and see if the property's affected?
That's exactly right. You can go to the public notice that's on the Gulf County website, and if you'll go to that notice, there's a hyperlink to the Northwest Florida Water Management District's website, and you just simply click on Gulf County, and it'll pull up a site, a GIS site, and where you can enter your parcel number or your address. So, and that way you can check what your preliminary flood risk is gonna be in the future.
I have already alerted Representative Shares and Senator Mumford to see if there's some way the state might also get involved. But Palm Beach County has plenty of money to go through it. It doesn't even hurt their budget at all. In fact, FEMA funded most of their fight against FEMA, which the government drives them crazy. But anyway, to see if whether or not we might be able to get them involved to help our rural counties be able to get some funds in place to at least mitigate some of the problems that some of our lower and middle income people have. Thank y'all for listening.
Thank you. Nick? Serena, you wanna talk? You have your hand up on here? No? If anyone else in the audience wishes to speak on anything? All right. You have anything to bring to us?
Not
You just want, you just talking. All right, Commissioner Ashwood, what you have?
I've got nothing for us tonight.
Nothing else. Mr. Wilder?
Dr. Pat stole my thunder.
Sorry about that, Brett.
And I just got one thing, and I don't know, I guess I thought it would be on the agenda, but it wasn't, but at our last meeting, we had a lady bring up the off-premise signs, sandwich board signs, all those kind of signs. And I did take a little bit of riding down Reed Avenue from 71 to First Street, and I went to 98, come back up First Street, and then Fifth Street. 71, I think I counted 20. Now, I've mentioned to a couple of people, it was brought up to us, and as I've always said, I'm not gonna ever wanna do anything to hurt anybody's business, I want to be in business. And I feel like they can take their signs up at night, or when they're not even open, like Sundays, whenever they're not open, why should your sign sit out there on the right of way, in one of our meetings or whatever, you know? It shouldn't. And I've mentioned it to a couple of people, and one of them told me he would pick the sign up, but he may have picked it up the first day, but I don't know, but I know he hadn't picked it up since. So, and Richie was wanting some kind of direction from us on where to go with this.
I'd like to have some direction too, because I've had some people ask me about it, if it's legal or can they
It is
do
definitely
What's been
illegal.
the practice?
Well, we agreed a year ago to give them at least a year to leave out their signs. A year's gone by, but I would say we give them another year just with the stipulation that take them up at night. When you're not open, take them up.
Well, to be fair, Mr. Mayor, maybe we just send all the businesses of Reed Avenue a little letter and say, hey, in a couple of weeks, we're gonna start enforcing this new policy. You've got till then to remove your signs at night.
We can identify, you know, the ones that do have, people other than Reed Avenue. And if it's on their property, it's okay. It's not like on the sign.
Just can't be that specific.
And I saw one today had like 4, but they're all on his property, so not really anything to do about that. Like putting that sign on. But anyway, everybody be thinking about it some more, and let's see where we're gonna go with this. I don't think they need to leave them 24/7. I really just don't think they need to leave them. And as I say, we're bending an ordinance. We have an ordinance that says you can't have them. And we're bending that ordinance that they can have them, to let them have some advertising. And I think it's just like any other thing, you let somebody have it, they'll take a little extra step. And just like I think the golf carts are, we're gonna approve golf carts, then everybody wants to do whatever they want to with the golf carts. I've noticed it, I've watched them all over town. And this is kind of the same thing, you know, we let you have a movie and you want more. So anyway, it's just something we need to think about and bring it up in another meeting. If you see any of the people that are putting signs out, ask them, do they mind taking them? Some people are. But I'm gonna go back down there tonight and I'm gonna see how many I can count. We got one person that's got all purpose signs, and then we got like 4 or 5 more little things in the same little medium. They taking up the whole medium with signs. Or the cute little things, cute little things.
Are they different businesses or?
No,